Hey everybody, Danny and Jake back with another episode of the JCT podcast. It's been a minute, but we've been behind the scenes working on some things, and obviously with the 4th of July holiday just passing here a couple days ago, there's a lot that goes on operationally when you have that come on and all the holiday imbalances that tend to happen where there's a lot of people at home, a lot of drivers, work taking some time off, and then also, from the shipping and receiving aspect, there's people taking time off there. So all hands on deck mentality when you get to the holidays, and we work through it all right, but that imbalance kind of continues through the week too. So we've been dealing with a lot of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, today's Tuesday, July 5th, and it feels like a Monday. Yesterday felt like I guess Tuesday, July 6th.
The 6th,
actually. Yeah. See, I'm totally off a day. But no, we've gotten past the actual Sunday, July 4th holiday, and it does create some imbalances in our network. You have one less day of shipping and receiving, but our drivers and our ops team have done a fantastic job servicing our customers. There's always going to be a couple of imbalances, as you referenced, and incidents that occur, but for the most part, we had a really strong performance from Memorial Day all the way to the 4th of July. Now, this week will be a little wonky in trying to get things.
Hurricane coming through.
Yeah, we do. We got Tropical Storm Elsa down in Florida right now. Luckily, not a full-strength hurricane, but it's really early for the Atlantic season to be kicking off. But from the rest of July through August and all the way to Labor Day, we're still in what we consider our peak summer shipping season. Our seasonal markets like California stay really strong. Protein demand, produce, beverage, dairy, all that is good. So the opportunity for drivers, you get past this holiday here, and then we find that, mileage production, strong demand for our services really sets us up for a highly successful period all the way through Labor Day. And then, you clear Labor Day and you start looking at the fall and winter holidays, which we'll talk about that later at the end. But for right now, let's
got a little
just
ways
say,
to get there.
Yeah, thank you to all the drivers that helped us get through the 4th of July and are back to work this week. And we're excited about what we've got on deck here.
Yeah, well, and I think what we do internally here is really focus on, especially on holidays, 4th of July, is we want to make sure when drivers are not home and they're working over the holiday, which we desperately need and appreciate, we really focus on making sure that we keep people loaded as much as possible and keep them running as much as possible over that time, because for us, we don't want that capacity out there on the road to be to not be utilized, especially when you're not taking the time off like a lot of other people are. So we appreciate you working over that, and just know that internally we do focus on that a lot. That's one of the main goals before the holidays. Keep people who are working, we want to keep them loaded, keep them moving, and I know there's things that come up, and there's maybe not as many drivers out there to swap with or something like that if you run behind, but yeah. What we'd like to do is keep you loaded as much as possible. So I hope that was the case for everybody. And if not, let us know in the survey. That'd be good, something to add if you had a particular issue or something come up where maybe you weren't utilized how you thought you should have been. Let me know, let us know, and we'll dig into that. And because, like I said, that's something we definitely want to keep an eye on over the holidays.
Yeah, I spoke to the weekend crew several times this weekend, and we did just that, what you said. We made sure that any drivers that were available were moving. There's always going to be, some load cancellations in cases where a driver gets delayed under dispatch, and we've got to make sure we recognize that. And you drivers, please let us know if you're experiencing an abnormal delay under dispatch, waiting at a shipper or waiting at a receiver. We try to monitor that and be very proactive, but please keep us informed and keep us in the loop there so that we can get on that and help. And talking about the survey that you mentioned, we're right now we're kind of, as last time we came to you guys on the podcast, we talked about the results and the things what you wanted to see in the pay changes. Yep. And all the revisions we're making there. And I want to, first of all, thank everyone for being so actively participatory in the survey. We had almost 300 responses in that survey, and the results are interesting, and they're back in. What we're hearing from the drivers is obviously the number one choice for them would be a base pay increase. Second, and not a fairly close second, but statistically 30 or 40 basis points behind the base pay increase is a move from short line to practical mileage.
Yep. Which always, we had some internal kind of bets in here about which was going to outdo the other. So I may owe Marty Means a little bit of a payout for because he guessed base pay and I was on the practical mileage, so I may owe him something. But
no.
Those two standing out more so than the other three, which were decently behind.
It goes down next is fuel surcharge or the Pilot Flying J rebate, the market premium, and then last is the retention bonus. And not to say that I know any parts of a pay component that add up to what your total pay is, they're all important, but we certainly want to go to the driver and poll them and find out, okay, what are the changes, what would you like to see from us that would most benefit you or most important to you? And so having compiled that information, we've had a little bit of time. We said we wanted to be prompt and timely in this. We got the podcast and the survey out in a very rapid time. We've accumulated the results. We've done some internal conversations and crunching some numbers and running some different things. And I'm excited to say that we've arrived at, I think, a decision on what to do.
Well, and I think what I wanted to bring up was I love the way that we went about it. I think there's none that I've seen publicly anyway, but I don't know that there's a lot of companies out there that would make that kind of move where we go directly to the driver and say, okay, well, tell us where would an increase be important to you, and then us reacting to that and basing decisions on that. I think that's
Absolutely.
I think that just speaks to kind of the driver centric position we've taken here at John Christner Trucking and wanting to keep that going. So I hope that resonates well with you guys out there, that we do take your information, your feedback seriously, and it really helps drive us in the direction that you want to see us go, but also that's good for us as well.
Yeah, and in addition to this payroll information, the driver satisfaction numbers have really came in strong. There's 5 being I'm very satisfied with my job in the company right now, with 1 being the least, and I think we only had 2 responses in the 1 or 2 range this last survey. So that's an indication of what you just said. We're taking this serious. We're trying to be more driver centric. We're really and it's empowering to the drivers. I feel like I've heard from so many of you about the way that we've gone about this, and then we've responded, we've followed up on issues, and we've delivered on what we said we were going to do. So without further ado, I guess, and now to the meat of the program.
Exactly. All the numbers. What do people want to hear?
Yeah. So drivers, here's what's coming, and this is coming. This will be effective on loads delivered on or after July 9th, which is this Friday.
Yes,
I think I've got my dates right now. Yeah, today's
we'll
the 6th.
Double check that. Yeah, the 9th is Friday.
Friday is the 9th. Starting on the trips you turn in, there will be a 5 cent per mile increase to your base pay. So that's whether you're a single or a team. 5 cents per mile will be increased on the base pay, and that's a big thing. That's unloaded and empty miles. Of course, we pay fuel surcharge on unloaded and empty miles, but you're getting 5 cents more per mile.
And obviously, that being the most popular one, that's great that able to add to that baseline number that you're going to see week in and week out. It's to the base of what you normally see.
It's a permanent step up in base pay, which is what we heard from the drivers they were wanting. So we're delivering on that. That's one of the promises we're delivering on, is to give the drivers what they want in base pay. Secondly, we are going to change from short line to practical mile pay.
Knock out both of them, huh?
And I know there's some of you drivers that would hang on to your steering wheels. Exactly. I think I just heard a few.
Pull over.
Yeah, yoo-hoo, wahoo out there. Some celebratory yells from some drivers because, like I said on the last time, I've driven and I understand that you can't drive the shortest route. It takes you through towns and municipalities and 2-lane roads. So it's a practical route world when you're driving a 18-wheeler and a Class 8 vehicle. So that's something that, like I said, we referenced this in our last podcast. If you didn't hear. Almost 90-something% of our customers pay us on short line miles. That's just the way the industry works. But we're going to start paying you, the driver, on practical miles, and that will mean your loaded and your empty miles. That 5 cent base pay is coming on the practical miles. So in totality, there, when you think about the difference between short line and practical miles, and I think on our last podcast I referenced as much as 6 or 7%, and that may be on the extreme cases. What we're hearing now is more closer to 4 to 5%, and maybe even sometimes lower in the routes we run. But for our calculations, we figured at about 4.5% is what we think this is going to increase the amount of miles you're going to be paid. Driving the same routes you were driving is now going to increase by anywhere from 4 to 5%, and you're going to get 5 cents more on the base pay. So when that's all said and done, I mean, you're talking about could be roughly be 11 to 12 cents more per mile.
Yep.
A major step up in pay and policy. And the other thing we've got coming for all the drivers that have been here for the second quarter and completed that, and it will be paid. I think it's going to be paid on July 14th. Is the 5-cent retention bonus?
Exactly. Yep.
And that's going to be exciting. We're going to really message that and celebrate that with some of the drivers that are through here. Guys have anywhere from $1,500 to $1,700, $1,800 in retention bonus pay that'll be paid out in a lump sum to them. Right now, with the changes we made on the base pay and the practical miles, we're not going to reenact the retention bonus for the third quarter, because we think that the programs that actually ranked last on our survey, but the base pay and the practical mileage are such a large change that we think that's going to be a significant jump up. Now, for those of you that got the retention bonus, that is 5 cents per mile that you won't be available for the third quarter, but you're going to more than offset that in the base pay increase in the practical miles. And then when we get, as we see how this trends through the third quarter and we get closer into the fourth quarter and for the holidays, we're really going to be polling you on that and what your preferences are there. And what we want to do, we want you to get the time off that you deserve. Over-the-road truck drivers make tremendous sacrifices being away from home, being away from family and other events that we sometimes here in the office take for granted. And so if there's a couple times or a couple weeks out of the year that you're absolutely set on getting somewhere to see family or getting home or wherever your loved ones are, we want to honor and respect that and try to meet those obligations. But we also think that there's some of you that can adjust schedules and still work part of during the holiday, or you're not necessarily want to be somewhere specific for the holiday. So if you are out working, what we're going to do is talk about finding ways to increase the compensation to really make it worth your while. One, we want to reward you and show our appreciation for you helping us service our customers, because as you know, we haul food, and during the holidays, people not only eat, they eat more.
Yep.
and shipments actually increase leading up to and during the holidays.
I know I did that over this last week.
And so, when you think about a large percentage of drivers that go off during that time, the shipments and the food and our customers still have to be serviced somehow. So it's always a challenging time. And while that's still a ways away, I'm talking really mainly about Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's. As it gets closer towards the end of the third quarter and into the fourth quarter, you'll be getting correspondence about that. So I just wanted to mention that, but I certainly don't want to steal the thunder of the announcement we just made. And just to summarize, a 5 cent per mile increase in your base pay, effective on loads delivered on or after July 9th, a switch from paying short line miles to practical miles, which as I referenced, that's harder to give you an exact figure because it can vary from trip to trip, but we know it's going to be at least probably a 4% increase in your paid miles, and then that 5 cent base on top of that. We're talking real money here.
Yeah, and for us who work in sales, I think I like the adding the practical in there because it gives us something to go, eventually either now or down the road, going to customers and, hey, we're paying practical mileage now, and start maybe a trend in the industry about switching that over from short line. As carriers are in more need, I think it gives us there's a few more arrows in our quiver to go.
Yeah, absolutely. I was actually out last week and got to see 3 different customers, and I mentioned that to all 3 of the customers of what we were getting ready, contemplating to do. Because it is a disconnect. We're billing the customer on short line miles, and we're going to be paying you, the driver, on practical miles. So we're actually paying a percentage of miles that we're not getting paid anything for. And the industry really needs to correct that. Yeah. I mean, that's something when I look back and think about in the years past, there was pallet exchange that we, the carriers and the drivers, had to mess with. And we've been able to get out of that, and that was progress. Unloading is another, just such a punitive practice for carriers and drivers and really for the shippers that are sitting here. We get reimbursed on most of those unloading funds, so the shipper is the one paying it, but still we have to be out of our pocket with the money to pay it up front. Drivers, you have to mess with the negotiating and dealing with a lumper and getting receipts and turning those in and all that. So I know it's something that you shouldn't have to even mess with. And maybe, as Jake referenced, there's a wave of a shift in the market to go, because we're going to reference this to our customers, I promise. And because what'll be exciting and neat to see is, the feedback from our drivers as they start realizing and seeing, hey, I've been running these routes for all these years. I've been getting shorted on my miles. Now I'm getting paid for the miles I'm driving. I think it's going to be a real satisfier. And obviously, the way we're doing this is we've been able to go out and get some rate increases from our customers on the rate per mile, not on the paid miles, the number of paid miles, but on the rate per mile we have. So we're transferring some of that money onto and paying it on miles that we're not getting paid on, and that's an offset of the result of us being able to raise our rates. So yeah, continued progress. Drivers, I'm excited about it. I mean, I've been here 30 plus years. This is one of the most, probably think one of the boldest and best moves for the drivers that we've made. Obviously, we've had other increases in base pay and the market premium and things like that. The market premium is still intact. That's 8 cents a mile. The safety bonus at 2 cents a mile is still intact. Trips shorter than 600 miles still get paid the 3 cent premium. Team pay still pays 5 cents more per mile. Everything is the same, other than we won't have the retention bonus for the third quarter, but the base pay goes up 5 cents a mile, and you get paid on practical miles.
Yeah, I was feeling a little anxious because we hadn't got the podcast out yet, and we were trying to figure out which direction we're going. But so I feel a lot better now that we're making the announcement. You had the fireworks over the weekend, and then fireworks on the podcast. So
big time, big time, yeah. So drivers, once again, thank you for what you do. Thank you for being so conscientious and helping us serve our customers. And we know it's not an easy job to do. You've been just warriors out there, even from the start of COVID all the way through into the ice storm in February, and up now we've cleared the Memorial Day and the 4th of July holiday. We've got our sights set on Labor Day now to make sure we stay busy until then. And I just couldn't be more excited and more appreciative and proud of the progress we're making here to sync up with, like I said in our last correspondence, I want to make sure you, the driver, I want to represent you with our customers and vice versa. And I hear it all the time from our customers. What can we do to make your drivers happier? What can we do to make your drivers more successful and make them, improve retention and make this a better job? And there's a lot of other things they can do at shipping and receiving locations and driver treatment. But one of the things that we're doing right now, vis-a-vis that money we receive from our customer, is we're correcting some of the inadequacies that are inherent in this industry, and that's you not getting paid for all the miles you drove. So I couldn't be more excited to make this announcement. It's a bold move. Now we've got to make sure we can continue to support it, but as the market moves and goes hopefully continues to stay strong and go up, we'll continue to roll on more incentives and more enhancements that are accretive to our package. And as long as we keep serving our customers and running the routes we do, we've got some great freight, some great routes, and we're really set up for success for the rest of this third quarter and beyond.
Yeah, and I just want to say thank you again for, if you worked over the holidays, even if you didn't, just thank you for being here at JCT with us. But those that worked over the holidays, we appreciate you being out there doing that. Thank you for the feedback on the surveys. Again, I know we kind of beat that to death, but it just really helps us, in deciding which directions to go and what benefits you the most and what you would like to see. It's important for us to know that. So please continue to respond to the surveys, and we'll take all that data and all that information and act on it as best as possible. But very excited to be rolling this out, and I think there may be some happy drivers out there on the road. So
I hope so. Yeah, I know it makes me. I'm excited, and I'm like I said, it's a positive step in the right direction, and we're not done yet. We're going to keep it going.
Hey, and that feedback on the survey can be good too. You can just say how much you love it. Send us 5. That's great.
Yeah, give us more stuff. I mean, we're not done. Like I said, we're continuing to attack the different areas, the challenges, and then try to enhance the program to make it better for you guys.
Awesome. Well, yeah, we will leave you with that. We appreciate you guys. Be safe out there on the road, and have a great day. Enjoy the extra money coming your way.